You're now watching an excerpt from a Terrace podcast episode exclusive to our Patreon website. If you would like to listen to the podcast in full, head over to patreon.com/Terrace podcast, where you can unlock this show and thousands of hours worth of bonus content.
Nick Montgomery came in, I think he's won 12 of 35 games. The added weight and added spending of Black Knight, who came in with the kind of room to be about £6 million worth of investment, they will expect a little bit more from their money. And they had that statement, won't go through the whole thing, but in the aftermath of Saturday Straw with Motherwell, we came together to understand what happened this season and what steps are necessary to move the club forward. With that in mind, we'll conduct a full review of the club's football structure in conjunction with Black Knight Football Club. The review will be comprehensive evaluation of the entire football operation as we ensure we perform at the highest level. I mean, is there any coming back from Nick Montgomery for that? I mean, it felt a little like it's a nothing statement where you're committing to nothing, but if you're committing to nothing and you put a statement out like that, there is something out there. You know, it's like the best vote of confidence you can possibly have is no vote of confidence, just the status quo until there's news to talk about. Don't give anyone any news.
Yeah, but so I suppose the statement speaks to a wider problem at Hibs. I think that's fair to say. And I would say in football, success and failure on the whole are never just one or two things. It's a culmination of certain things going right or certain things going wrong. And I think that would be far too easy to say that everything sits at Nick Montgomery's door, because it's not the case. But he certainly shoulders a lot of the blame, as does the rest of the football department that oversee him, and then as do the board. I think that for too long at Hibs in the last few years, there's been a case of just any time that things are going awry, is just saying stuff to get people away, like to say cheers. So at a certain point, it was like, when things were going well, I don't think we really need a director of football. I don't think that's not quite necessary and stuff like that. And then things start to go, well, maybe actually a director of football would be something that'd be really important. And then even that, when the recruitment for that was taking place, the performance started going well, and you were hearing that certain people within the club were saying, well, actually, do we need a director of football? Is that like so it's very reactionary and almost about saving the skin of the people that are coming under scrutiny. So it's just about kicking stuff into the long grass. And that statement a couple of weeks ago pretty much is that the accumulation of the last 3-4 years. As an example, you cannot have members of the board telling fans in Switzerland which players were whose signings. In terms of that was my guy, and that was someone that was the manager's signing and stuff like that. Like, no, the club signings, full stop. Right? There's no that there's clearly a dysfunction going on if people aren't willing to say, no, we signed this player for the club, not because it was my preference or what have you. So the statement probably raised as many questions. Like it didn't answer anything, basically, which is part of the problem. And like it was anodyne enough that people could take it to be what they wanted it to be. Now that, I suppose, is symptomatic of the Nick Montgomery tenure. If you like him and think he's the right person for the job, then you can find the justification in certain in things that has gone on, and I suppose you can give the mitigations as to why we've ended up where we have, and say, well, it's not the manager, and the worst thing of, well, we can't just be in a position where we keep getting rid of managers. It's like, well, no, we can't, but we can certainly get rid of this guy because he's not doing what we're meant to be doing. And similarly, I'm very much in the camp of Monty. I really really wanted it to work, but none of the things that we were told about him have come to fruition, and just a complete lack of charisma, which is like I feel weird like being that is a criticism, but actually it matters if you're not getting results. If you don't have something he's just not a guy that I have any sort of faith in. And I'm sure 1-to-1, he could win me over, but he's kind of just a zilch, I suppose, in that regard, and that's makes it very difficult to make the arguments for him because he's not giving us anything to go on. And for me, the biggest thing is, have we really improved? The day before that, his first game against Kilmarnock, the 2-2 draw, have we really improved? Have we really kicked on since then? You could make the argument is maybe slightly, but not enough if you then consider the extra stuff the extra investment we got in January and the level of talent that was brought in. There hasn't been good enough progress for it to justify to say, oh, actually, there's green shoots of recovery here that I can see what he's trying to do, because I actually can't, and he doesn't explain what he's trying to do very well. Undoubtedly, he is hamstrung a little bit by the complete lack of direction that exists within the club, and that comes through in signings and stuff like that. But he doesn't help himself by certain things that he was saying is, oh, we're looking at players to come in that will have an immediate impact, and then we don't sign anyone in January that in defence especially that can do that. And yeah, kind of just a complete inability to learn from his mistakes, and just thinking, which we've all seen before. We've seen managers come in Scottish football who think they can change Scottish football. Doesn't work that way. Like, we don't know, like, it's something I'm using all the time at work at the moment in my day-to-day life. Like, you cannot operate in the world that you like it to be. You have to operate in the world as it is and slowly make those incremental changes. You can't come in mid-season and try and change fundamentally David Marshall's footwork. Everything he says is being contradicted at a certain date, and fundamentally the biggest issue is that not once have we beaten a team that is better than us, and then dropping points to lots and lots of teams who are poorer than Hibs on paper, means that you finish bottom 6, and that's frankly not good enough.